If you don't see Dreamweaver straight away, it's probably because it's on the second menu. So if we just click and swipe to the left, you'll be able to see it, and it's DW. Wait for that to load. Click Create New HTML, and you should see a blank page in the design format, which is what we're going to create a web page in. So what we're going to do is we need to think about how we're going to build this website. So we need to think about our web page in terms of a table format. So we must imagine what is it going to look like in its basic table layout. So we are all going to have pretty much a banner up the top. Then we might have some links that run across underneath that, or maybe some links on the left-hand side. And then we might have just some information in the middle, and then some more sort of specific information down the bottom, or contact information. So all click on Insert, and we're going to insert a table for our banner. So at this stage, we just want one row, one column, 1,000 pixels in table width, and I'm going to make my border thickness 0, only because I don't want to see the outline of my table. If you do wish to see a table, change it to 1 or 2 pixels. So click OK. That's where my banner will go. Please do not enter that down. Do not fiddle with it or anything. Oh, before we move on, we're going to make sure we save this file. So File, Save As. Now, we already talked about today is setting up a 7com folder. If you don't already have one of those, you need to click New Folder, or you'll have a little cog looking like thing, which looks like a star up here. Click on that and create New Folder. You should have a 7com folder, and within that folder, you should have a website folder. What I want you to do is label this page that you've already got the banner in as index. And you can see that I've already got one here from today's lesson. So label it index and click Save. Okay, I'm just going to replace that, but you should all have just one. Okay, now pretty much that table is selected, and you can see the cursors flashing within the table. At this stage, I'm just going to build the format of our website. So we're just going to build the table outline only. So I'm going to click on the outside of the table, and you can see the cursors flashing on the outside. I'm going to click Insert. We're going to insert another table for all my links. Now I'm going to have 3 links in 3 separate columns underneath this first table. I know that sounds confusing, but you've kind of got to imagine what this website will be. So I want 1 row, 3 columns this time, and you'll be able to see what it looks like. Okay, so that's where my links are going to go. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have 3 pages. Okay, I'm going to click on the outside of this table, and you can see my cursors flashing again at the end of the table. I'm going to click Insert, and I'm going to insert 1 more table, and that's going to have 1 row and 2 columns this time. Okay, on the left hand side, and I can adjust these columns later on, I'm going to have some images or maybe some text, and on the right hand side I'm going to have some text, or I might decide on having some images. So at this stage my website is just a skeleton of tables. I'm going to now insert 1 more table, and it's just going to be 1 row and 1 column, 1,000 pixels wide, 0 border thickness for the pixels. Okay, so that's pretty much the format of my layout. I don't want to muck around with formatting that at this stage. Do not enter, do not drag, do not expand any of these tables, because you'll run into issues later. Okay, so we're going to insert our banner at this stage. So click on the first table, and you can see my cursors flashing on the inside of that table. I'm going to insert an image, and I have my banner actually saved in a folder, but I actually don't have it within my website folder. It's really important with Dreamweaver to make sure that you've got all of your images saved within the same folder before you insert them into Dreamweaver. I'll repeat that again. Make sure, and this is really important, you have all of your images saved into this website folder before you insert them into Dreamweaver. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. I'm going to go and sort out my files. So I've got 7com folder, my website folder. I've just got the index page here. Okay. And I actually have my banner in a different folder, obviously from last term when I taught it last term. What I'm going to do is click and drag that banner into my website folder. So now I have that image, okay, which is my banner. It's saved as a PNG, okay, not a PSD. You must save your banner as a PNG and make sure it's in the same folder as your index page, which is this page we're working on now, okay? So before I insert that banner, I must make sure that image is in the same website folder. Pretty much all of your images that you're going to save from the internet are going to be saved in this website folder, and that is super important. I cannot stress that anymore. It is super, super, super important. Okay, so back to Dreamweaver. Okay, let's insert image. Now, go on to my 7com folder, my website folder within that, and I'm going to click on my banner, which is now in my website folder. Double click, click OK, and look at that. We've got our banner in there. Okay, so essentially you can start to see your website being designed and created. In these sections here, I'm going to add some text for links. Now, it's up to you whether you'd like to insert a graphic for your links. If you wish to build a graphic similar to your banner, where you actually create just a small sort of maybe 200 pixels wide by maybe 50 pixels high image in Photoshop, and you create a background, an interesting colored background, and maybe some text on top, and make them all consistent for each of your links, that's up to you. I know you guys are pretty creative and you'd like to personalize that a bit more. Okay, so if you now are wanting to add text and images into the body of your page, now remember this is just the home page, which is why it's called index. We can click on page properties, okay, and in here, which is down the bottom here, in here we've got appearance, which is obviously the page font. It should be consistent across the whole page. The size of it should also be consistent unless you've got headings, and the text color and the background color can be changed. It is also here you can pop in a background image for each of these areas as well, okay? So you can play around with these properties if you wish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably select maybe Tahoma, because if I can find Tahoma, I might type it in. See if I can do that. Okay, now just go back to that, and I want it to be size 14. Text color, I'm going to make it black at this stage, so make sure you're specific with that. Background color, I can make it, you might make it that greeny color, so I'm just going to eyedrop this color here so I can sort of tie the banner in with the rest of my website, and I'll click OK. Now I can realign, actually change the background color for the whole internet site, but I don't think that looks bad anyway. But you can actually change the background color for that specific column, and I think it's just this one here. So if you wanted to change just that column, you just go to BG here. I'm going to Command Z, my best friend, which I actually think that works pretty well, and I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to start typing, and I actually want to center that text. So I'm going to just go down, and I'm going to click on, normally you'd probably put a margin in there, but I'm just going to right click it actually. So I will just click Align and Center. And you can do this after you've typed the text in, that's no problem. And I'm going to click on cyberbullying information. Okay, I'm going to tab to the next column and I'm going to click on, and you can see I can just move and drag that parameter back over. For some reason it resized itself. I'm going to go, okay, the next one might be information. Actually, I might save that as what is cyberbullying. So defining the term. The next column I've just tabbed into that is going to be how to get help. And the next link page that I'm going to create is going to be maybe how to recognize the signs. And that's probably pretty poorly planned because I probably put how to recognize signs in the middle there. But anyway, we'll just go with that for now. We're going to make that bold because it's going to be a link. I'm going to center it. So right click, align, center. And again, just highlight it, bold, right click, align, center. And the last one. Now, all this sort of fine tuning can be done last. It doesn't need to be done straight away. What's really important is making sure that you've got the information researched, and that takes time, and that's what's going to be your homework over the weekend. So essentially, you've got 3 links. They're not quite even at this stage. I'm just clicking and dragging them across. You can measure them by obviously the amount that comes up, so they're all different, and you can set the column width, okay, and you can type into that straight away, okay. So we're going to go down next, and I'm going to have some information here. And typing's really bad today. Information, okay, and here I'd have what is cyberbullying, definition of cyberbullying, okay, etc., etc. Okay, now in this column here, I might have some images, okay. So I'm going to go to Safari and I'm going to find some cyberbullying images. And I've dropped out again. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go images. I'm going to save an image straight into that website folder. Okay, so I'm going to start with this image here because I think that's a pretty good graphic. I'm going to go right click, save image as, and I'm going to go and save it into my 7com folder, into my website folder, and I'm going to call that Stop Cyberbullying. Now it's really important you label your files because it can get you out of a bit of trouble later on when you're trying to work out what file is what. Okay, so we'll go back to Dreamweaver and now we'll insert that graphic, okay, that file that we've just saved. So insert, again I've clicked into that table, insert image, and you can see my Stop Cyberbullying file that I've just saved off the web is there. Going to open it, click OK, and you can see that fits quite nicely in that space, okay. Now if you need to adjust the image, okay, you can do so. If you want it to be bigger, smaller, whatever you want it to be, you can just click and drag. Okay, now obviously I'd have a lot of information here, and then I might have some more sort of information down here, like maybe I might have some links to other websites. So links to other sites. Okay, you don't have to have this, but this is just a suggestion. And back on Safari, if I actually go back, you can see that there's other websites, like government websites, that are really, really good. So I'm going to actually, I might screenshot this page actually. So I go Command-Shift-3, and that takes a photo of that page, and it's going to end up on my desktop, which if I move that over, I might just minimize that, and I'll just minimize my Dreamweaver site so you can see it. And the screenshot I just did is just here on my desktop.